You know, some TV characters, they just grab you by the shoulders and say, figure me out.
Oh, absolutely. The ones that make you want to spend hours on Reddit debating theories with complete strangers.
Exactly. And Raymond Reddington from the Blacklist, he's practically the poster child for enigmatic characters. So we've got a bunch of excerpts here, all about the most popular theories surrounding Reddington's true identity. Think we can shed some light on this whole mystery.
We can certainly try. The Blacklist is notorious for dropping clues 1 minute and then yanking us in a completely different direction the next.
Right. It's a wild ride, for sure. Speaking of wild, let's start with maybe the most shocking theory of them all. Reddarina.
Oh, now that's a doozy.
Basically, it proposes that Reddington is actually Katarina Rostova, Liz's mom, in disguise.
Yeah, talk about a twist. It makes you question everything you thought you knew about identity, about gender, about the lengths a parent might go to protect their child.
And the Blacklist doesn't exactly shy away from those darker impulses, does it? Those Season 6 flashbacks with Katarina faking her death. I mean, talk about desperate measures.
Well, for pivotal, weren't they? They really established that Katarina was willing to do whatever it took to vanish, presumably to protect Liz.
Exactly. And then you've got Reddington's almost motherly instincts toward Liz. Okay, sure, he can be ruthless when he needs to be, but there's this underlying protectiveness and empathy. You know, it goes beyond what you'd expect from a mentor or an old colleague.
It's almost as if he's experiencing her pain firsthand, like he's been there himself.
Right. It's that whole methinks the lady doth protest too much thing. The more evasive he is about Katarina, the more suspicious it all seems. But of course, no good theory is without its flaws, right? And Reddarina has a few big ones to contend with.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, if Reddington IS Katarina, why keep up the charade for so long? Why not reveal the truth to Liz? Maybe even use it to manipulate her, as twisted as that sounds.
That's a really good point. I mean, I guess you could argue that maintaining the facade is part of some long-term strategy to protect Liz without exposing their true connection. But still, after all this time, it's getting hard to swallow.
Yeah, not to mention the logistics of it all. Even with all the plastic surgery and secret identities the Blacklist throws at us, going from Katarina to Reddington, that's a whole other level of unbelievable.
It makes you wonder, even within the world of the show, is that even possible? And if so, what kind of psychological impact would that have on a person?
It's mind-boggling, really. Makes you think about the limits of identity, how far someone would go for the people they love. But hey, as captivating as Reddarina is, it's far from the only contender in the Who is Red ring. So let's move on to another fan favorite. Reddington as Liz's father.
Oh yeah, that's a classic for a reason. People love a good hidden parentage story, that desire to connect with your roots, you know, and the Blacklist plays on that brilliantly.
Totally. There were definitely moments, especially early on, where I thought for sure that's where they were going with it. Remember that whole DNA test back in season 4? For a hot second, it felt like confirmation. Reddington IS the father, end of story. And then, well, you know what the Blacklist does best.
They pull the rug out from under us, leaving us more confused than before.
Exactly. It's maddening and addictive all at the same time. But, okay, even with the whole DNA mess and those I'm not the father speeches, you can't deny there's a certain paternal energy between Reddington and Liz. I mean, the way he guides her, protects her, even challenges her. It screams protective dad, doesn't it?
It does. And then there's that whole history between Reddington and Katarina. We know their relationship was complicated, but it's not a stretch to imagine it resulting in Liz, even if the timeline is a bit murky.
The timeline on the Blacklist is always murky, but that's part of the fun, isn't it? Trying to put the pieces together, even if they keep shifting around on us.
It's a puzzle, that's for sure. But the stakes are incredibly high, because if Reddington is Liz's father, it changes everything about how we see his actions, doesn't it? Is it love that's driving him? A need to make amends for past mistakes? Or is it something darker?
And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because for every heartfelt father-daughter moment, there's a lie, a secret, a deliberate attempt to cloud the truth. So yeah, the Reddington as Liz's father theory definitely tugs at the heartstrings, but it's got just as many inconsistencies as any other theory we've got, which, let's be honest, is par for the course on this show. But before we get lost in the maze of Reddington's denials, we've got to address the elephant in the room, or rather, the imposter standing right next to us, figuratively speaking, of course, because what if the Reddington we've come to know isn't actually Reddington at all?
The imposter theory, right. Talk about a curveball from the writers. Like they were getting a kick out of messing with us.
Seriously. And that whole season 8 reveal where they dropped that the real Reddington is dead. Phew.
Yeah,
It was like throwing gasoline on a bonfire.
Totally. And that DNA evidence, you can't really argue with that, even in a world of spies and illusions.
Yeah.
It definitely makes you wonder, if this isn't the real Reddington, then who is he? What's his connection to the guy he's pretending to be?
Right. It's like we walked into the middle of some crazy spy movie. Everyone's got a secret agenda. You start to think you're getting a handle on things, and boom, everything changes. But what gets me about this whole imposter thing is, even if he asks faking it, this Reddington, he knows everything about the real one, doesn't he? I mean, the history, the secrets. How's it even possible?
That's what makes it so intriguing. He's not just wearing a mask. It's like he's absorbed Reddington's entire life. But why? What's he playing at?
It's the question, right? Maybe imposter isn't even the right word. Maybe it's more like successor or even protege.
Interesting way to look at it. Like he's not replacing him, more like
Right.
continuing his work. But on whose orders, right?
That's what I want to know. I guess that's why the writers keep us in the dark, though, keeps us hooked. But it really makes you think, what makes us who we are? If this guy takes on another man's entire life, is H.E. Reddington now?
Deep thoughts for a deep dive, huh?
Yeah.
I doubt we'll get a straight answer anytime soon. But that's part of the fun.
You're telling me. Okay, well, while we're pondering the mysteries of identity, let's switch gears to a theory that's a little more grounded. What if Reddington is a close relative of Liz's?
See, this one always gets me because it's the most human, you know? Less about conspiracies and more about family protecting their own.
Right. It just feels more personal. Like maybe he's an uncle who stepped in after Katarina disappeared, or even a cousin who feels responsible for Liz.
It definitely explains why he moves mountains to keep her safe, even if it puts him in danger. Family first, right?
Exactly. And all that Rostova family history he knows, those aren't things you just tell anyone, not even your closest friends. It makes you think there's got to be a deeper connection there, something they share that even they might not fully understand.
And yet, there's zero concrete proof, right?
Yeah.
No siblings popping up, no photos, nothing. It's weird.
Right. It's like the writers are dancing around it on purpose. Maybe they're saving it for some big reveal later on.
Oh, I'm sure they are. The Blacklist practically invented misdirection.
Speaking of which, let's not forget about the theory that paints Reddington as a former government agent gone rogue. You know, operating in the shadows, always 10 steps ahead.
Oh yeah, the classic anti-hero. People eat that up. And it makes perfect sense for Reddington. I mean, the guy practically oozes espionage expertise. Plus, he's always got those connections, always seems to know what's going to happen before it does.
Exactly. And it's not just that he evades the FBI. He outmaneuvers them at every turn.
He's playing 3D chess while they're still figuring out checkers.
And don't forget how he just slides into the criminal underworld, no problem. It's like that's his home turf, you know?
It really makes you wonder, is he really on anyone's side but his own? Is he a good guy, using bad methods? Or just a bad guy who occasionally does good things?
It's the question, isn't it? And the Blacklist, well, they're not exactly known for easy answers. You know, it's funny. The more we dig into these Reddington theories, the more I realize it's not just about WHO he is, right? It's about what his whole story says about us, about identity, about family, all those big questions.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm.
It's like the writers are holding up a mirror, making us think about what really defines a person. Is it where you come from, the choices you make, what you keep hidden from the world?
Right. Each theory, it's like a different side of him, you know, and maybe a different side of ourselves, too. The need to belong, to fix past mistakes, to find some kind of redemption. That's something we can all relate to, I think.
Exactly. And because they keep his true identity such a secret, the writers can really explore those themes in a way that most shows don't even attempt.
It's true. It's almost like the mystery itself is the point, in a way. Like in real life, nobody's just one thing, right? We all have secrets, hidden depths.
And just when you think you've got someone figured out, bam, the Blacklist throws a new twist at you.
And you know what? As much as I want to know the truth, part of me kind of hopes they never completely solve the mystery.
Really? Why is that?
Because the not knowing, the constant guessing, that's what keeps it exciting. It makes you pay attention, trying to catch every little hint every time they try to mislead you. It's like a game we're playing with the show.
You've got a point. Most shows, once the big secret's out, it's over. But this way, we're along for the ride season after season.
Exactly. And the writers, they've earned our trust, haven't they? We know that even if they don't show us all the cards, they'll keep dropping clues, keep us guessing right up to the very end.
It's true. It's
Right.
like we're in on the joke, but we still want to know the punchline.
100%. But even if, by some miracle, we do get that final reveal, there's this other thought I keep having.
Oh, Do tell.
What if the truth about Reddington is so out there, so completely unexpected that none of us have even come close to guessing it?
You're saying there's a chance we're all barking up the wrong tree, even after all this time.
Hey, it's the Blacklist. Stranger things have happened, and honestly, the thought that they might actually pull that off, it's kind of thrilling and a little terrifying.
You've definitely given me something to chew on. Guess even the biggest Blacklist fans can still be surprised.
That's the beauty of this show, right? You never truly know. But one thing's for sure, truth is often a lot more interesting than we give it credit for. So to everyone listening, keep those theories coming and don't ever stop questioning. Reddington's world, it's all about the game, and the game is always on.